It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, Temecula. We welcome you to our Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission meeting, and we will officially start our meeting. Let me see what I have here. I'd like the call to order. That's me. And then we're going to have our flag salute by Commissioner Crystal Pastorian. Yeah, you're up.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's no comma.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Commissioner.
2.
And do we have any public comments?
I'll go ahead and take the roll call.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Evantov,
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Lecters is absent, Commissioner Pastorian,
Here.
Vice Chair Steed, here, and Chair Wilson.
Here.
Thank you.
And,
And we do not have any public comments tonight.
okay, great. So let's move on with our first order of business would be our presentation or update from the Community Service Department.
I'm sorry, Chair Wilson, we have the action minutes on the consent calendar.
Oh, consent agenda, right here. I need a motion to approve the minutes from April the 21st, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Evantov and a second by Commissioner Faulkner. I'll go ahead and take the roll call vote. Commissioner Evantov?
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner?
Aye.
Commissioner he's absent. Commissioner Pastorian?
Aye.
Vice Chair Steed? Aye. And Chair Wilson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, down to our special presentation. Take it away, Community Service.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, we're great.
So for those of you who don't actually know me, because I haven't met most of you in person, I am Donna Domiak, Community Services Superintendent, so it's nice to see you all. You probably get a lot of emails from myself or my team, but it's nice to see you in person. So I'm going to do a quick update on Culturefest, because I don't know if you've heard, it's only 9 days away.
Here.
I know. It seems like we've been planning this one for a year, probably because we have. So 9 days away, May 21st, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All right. So as you can see, this is our overview map of what Culturefest will look like, how it'll be laid out in Old Town. So there's a little legend at the bottom there, and you can see we have entertainment in 2 locations here at the Civic Center, and then we're also going to have entertainment down at Sam Hicks Park. Vendors will also be in both areas. The main information booth will be here at the Civic Center. We will have a small information booth down at Sam Hicks Park as well for anybody who starts down there rather than here at City Hall. The fun zone will just be located at Sam Hicks Park. We don't really have room for it here. We have too many vendors here at City Hall, which is exciting. And then the fire station is on there because they're also going to have a booth. So as you're walking either from Sam Hicks up to City Hall, you can stop at the fire station or vice versa. All right, here is the start of our list of vendors. There are 14 food vendors there, a good variety. I'll give you time to just kind of peruse that if you'd like. We have 11 craft vendors. I can see you all reading.
I see Creole and then everything else was blank.
Who needs the rest? Don't worry, all this is on the website as well. Here are all of the educational vendors. We do have 21, which is exciting. A good mix. And we will have craft, educational, and promotional vendors at City Hall and at Sam Hicks. The majority of the food vendors will just be at City Hall. We'll only have one down at Sam Hicks. It's our promotional vendors. We do have 11 of those. So we have a total of 57 vendors. I know, exactly. Wow is right. As of today, 52 have submitted all the necessary paperwork. So we just have a few more that we need to wrangle some information out of. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody shows up. We shall see.
We're optimistic, they will.
Well, why wouldn't they?
I know.
It's our first year.
This entertainment is nice.
Yes, and then you can see you're already looking ahead to our entertainment schedule.
Thank you.
We'll have a stage here at the Civic Center. It's actually the Steps, which is our built-in stage. And then down at Sam Hicks Park, there are performances all day at Well in the gazebo area. We will have kind of a DJ here as well. And then DJ Mamma Mia from KATY will be hosting all the entertainment down at Sam Hicks.
Awesome.
I see lots of smiles. That makes me happy.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
And that is a quick overview. If you have questions, I can answer them. I did want to talk real fast about the commission booth.
Uh-huh.
Your commission is excellent. Everyone has RSVP'd, which I appreciate. And almost everybody has signed up for a time to work in the booth, except unfortunately for our commissioner that is not here, so I can't shame him into signing up
You already
to
did.
work.
I'm
Oh,
sure he's going
perfect.
to listen to the recording.
So the commission booth is actually going to be the very start of Culturefest. So as people arrive, we will show them to your booth because you will have the passport. Everyone's going to get a passport. It's going to list every single vendor that's there, and people should go around to every single vendor, get their passport stamped. We'll actually have a crayon that they can initial, and then they need to bring them back to your booth because you will have the giveaway for them.
Wow.
Exactly.
Like-
We were going to do it at our booth, and we thought, no, it's better at your booth because that will force everybody to come to your booth, hear what the event is really about, why you wanted to promote this event, get to know you, because I'm guessing, you don't get to meet everybody in the community, so it'll be a great opportunity for them to get to know your faces. So I'm happy to answer any questions, comments. Great job, Dawn.
I know. You know what? That is a great job. And I just want to say, because we worked on this, and it's like, it's almost like giving birth, because it's like all the meetings, all the input, and now to see this actually happening. And we're so excited about it. I think I've been talking about it. Everybody's like, we're having the Cultural Fest. So I think that's good. You guys, you're really good with the marketing and getting it out and all that other good stuff. So we're ready.
Thank you.
We're
Good.
ready. Any other questions?
I know it started with just a thought or, a suggestion, and it's blown up into this. And we always know that anything the city's involved in is going to be fabulous because you guys always do a great job. It looks phenomenal. I'm super excited. This is going to be our first year, and I think it's going to be a really, really good job. So thank you for all of your hard work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything? You guys good?
Great job, Dawn.
Thank you.
No, it's wonderful. Looking at that list is really warms my heart. I've seen several of those different groups in various places, and it's phenomenal. I think bringing them together is going to cultivate the message that we had originally started, the concept of inclusion, and really celebrating that. And this is something that we're all, I know, looking forward to. So it's exciting. Thank you.
It's awesome.
So hats off to you and your commission, definitely.
Done. This is not what we asked for. No, I'm just joking.
You're going to be terribly disappointed then.
You know what? Sign him up for extra hours right now.
I already did.
Well, no, you and your team do an amazing job, and anything you put your hands on, not only for this event, but community services overall. I mean, the impact you guys have on the city is just amazing, and this is going to be another step in that direction, so we appreciate you guys taking this on. And this falls in line with what we're trying to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion, be inclusive of all the different cultures in our community and bringing them together, educating them on who they are and what they do. I think that's always great to bring cities together. So I hope we keep this going for next year and years to come, because I think it is needed, and I think it helps with the work we're trying to do as well. So thank you and your team for putting this on and the great work you're doing. So thank you.
It's our pleasure. We look forward to this becoming one of our signature events. So
Oh, that's awesome. Just taking it started right here.
exactly. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don.
Madam Chair, would you like Dawn to quickly address the flow of as far as, do commissioners need to be present for the giveaway? How is that going to work?
Yeah, that is a good question. And what are the giveaways?
So we have one specific giveaway, and it's a globe-like stress ball that has the Culturefest logo on it. So if someone obviously is not in your booth when someone is ready to return their passport, one of our staff can step in. I don't know why someone won't be in the commission booth, though. That would be crazy.
Yes, it would.
Thank you.
You're just sucking up now.
So with that being said, are all the times covered for the day?
You know, they're not. The morning is quite popular, that 10 to 12 shift.
Oh, wow.
12 to 2, we have 2 commissioners signed up. And then guess what happens at 2 o'clock?
Oh, my God. No one?
No, isn't that sad? Can you believe it? Out of all the commissioners on all the commissions. Wow. Right.
So I'm 12 to 2. I'll stay 12 to 4.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
Thank you.
not doing anything, you know, how our schedules are.
Yeah.
But I have committed to 10 to 12, and if I'm not with clients, I will absolutely be there the whole time.
Yeah, I told my clients to wait. It's Culturefest.
I just happen to have the schedule here just in case anybody wanted to volunteer, so that's
You
handy.
got me all day.
Great.
Oh, okay, fine, I'll come back too.
I'll be there all day, except for a couple hours where I have to hit every one of the vendor booths.
Perfect.
Great, I love it.
And Don, the commission's executive director, will be there all day as well, so we'll have backup from there. So what I'm hearing you say is that the event is from 10 to 4.
Yes.
And the public who attends will be directed to the board and commission booth. At
Yes.
that point, the public will receive a passport, and then they can go ahead and visit all the vendors, get their stamp or whatever they need to do. And then before they leave, they will come back to the board and commission booth, and they will turn in their passport, and then a commissioner will hand them the giveaway, which is our Culturefest giveaway.
Stress ball.
Yes, that is correct.
Don, quick question. In terms of your vendors setting up and all the different booths and everything like that, I know sometimes it might be hard to break away from our allotted time, but if we wanted to be here as they set up and just let them know our thanks, what time have you indicated to them that they can set
They
up?
can start arriving at 7,
Okay.
and
So-
everybody has to be set by 9:30.
Perfect.
And just for clarification, are they selling the food?
Yes.
Okay. That will,
So
we
bring
definitely
money.
need to know that for people that are checking in. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Good question.
And Madam Chair, we will for the board and commission booth. What we're going to do is, thanks to Dawn's team, and my staff member Naomi, we're going to actually have poster-like information about each of the commissions in the booth so that they can see what each commission does. And you guys will also be able to hand out a trifold, and that trifold will have, in 5 sections, will have a description and pictures of each of the boards and commission members. And then on the 6th section of the trifold, it will have a little blurb about, in order to, if you're interested in serving, how you can apply to serve on the board or commission. So that will be another takeaway that you'll be able to
that's good.
give to the public as well.
Okay, sounds good. That's good. I think everything is covered.
Perfect. Don't worry, you know how to find me.
I know, thank you. Okay, now moving along on our agenda item, business. I don't think we have any. Nope. Are we actually ready for our commissioners' reports? So who would like to start? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, Commissioner Pastorian.
She gave me that glaring eye. Well, first of all, I want to say what an incredible event this morning, State of the City was. It was, once again, from just an event standpoint, phenomenal. But the message that everyone, I think, comes away with is always so positive, and we come away with a new appreciation and love, and renewed love, really, for our city. So that was amazing to see in those highlights, and really, in some of those videos, and I was sitting next to Commissioner Faulkner at the time, and there was a lot of representation of diversity in those videos that I don't know had been there before. And so it was really great to see that and recognize that and go, there it is. So we're doing a pretty good job of making sure that we're sending that message. So that was that. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the Riverside County Department of Education. They've done an amazing job with putting on trainings over the last several months for equity. And they are really stepping up in that space and making sure that those opportunities are accessible to those that have an interest in it for sure. And so really hats off to them. This last school board meeting, Five students in our special needs program were recognized with the Connection Award for achieving great things in our community, and all the way from preschool to our adult transition program. And it was amazing to see the write-ups that were coming in and how well that we as a community stand up our special needs groups and make sure that they are successful in the areas that they want to be successful in. And that is no doubt due to the collaboration, the partnership between the city and the school district. Yesterday was an amazing day. I attended the Unified Southwestern League Special Olympics, and it was awesome up in Murrieta Mesa. And this was the first time that all 6 of our schools were fully in attendance. And it was really great to see just the smiles, the love, the unification, the inclusion. It was groups of kids that are typically our athletes that you would see, and being partnered with those that are challenged and in our community of special needs. And so it was really, really great. It was they were able to take scores, and some of our kids were able to qualify for CIF based on their partnerships. It was really great. So hats off to all the things that we're doing with special needs as well. So.
Thank you so much for that report. Who would like to go next? Okay, Commissioner Steed.
Okay, great. So I was at the city council the other night, and a proclamation was given to students in regards to the Asian and Pacific Islander community. And that little girl cried, and oh my God. Did you cry? I couldn't even look at you because I was crying. I'm like, I'm not going to look at anybody. It was bad. But it was so moving and so beautiful, and it just reminds us all of why we're here and making that change and letting them see that we care, letting children in our community see that our city cares. So I think that's really, really special. So it was a pleasure to see that little girl and to know that she felt like they were really accomplishing something within her school. They're lettering, I believe, in Polynesian dance for the first time at TV. So that was very, very special. Secondly, I did meet with the Black Student Union in Temecula Valley High School. Phenomenal group, great kids. I kind of sat with them and I told them what our commission's about, and I told them about what our city does, and they were like, really? We do all this? They don't know about our museum and the different cultural events that we have in our museums. They didn't know that we just started celebrating Juneteenth last year. So there's a lot of things that our school is not knowing, and I know that we've always said that communication is one of our biggest barriers, getting all the information to all the right people. So we really have to figure out how to do that, not only get it to Temecula Unified School District, but get it down to the teachers that make a difference. So like the history teachers and the English teachers, the teachers that can bring a class through those museums so those kids can see that not only are they going to learn, but that their city cares enough to have these exhibits and that everybody gets to learn from it. So that was really cool. One takeaway that I did have from them is that they received, when the young girls there received the proclamation for Black History Month, and he said, that was phenomenal. That was such an experience for her. But basically, we walked away with that, and there's no signage around the city, or there's nothing else continuing to spread that love throughout the month. So kind of they'd like to see it on billboards or maybe the electronic billboard. So when we have proclamations like that, it might be good that the whole city sees it and not just those few that are engaged like us sitting here, right? So I thought that was a really good takeaway. And again, it just gives credibility to the proclamation, and it also gives more kudos to the people that are accepting it. I did visit Oak Grove Center a couple of days ago. I don't know if many of you are familiar with it, but it is a tremendous school that serves over 800 kids throughout the year. It is residential and non-residential. It has an autism program. It brings in kids that have depression, the kids that have had suicidal thoughts and tried to commit suicide, and just anger issues, just all these different things that our youth of today really struggles with. I attended one of their fundraisers, Evening Under the Oaks, recently at the Storm Stadium, and they did a phenomenal job. And just knowing that our community, their voices need to be heard, and they have needs, and we need to support them as much as possible. And programs like the Oak Grove Center are absolutely phenomenal. So good for them, and much kudos to them. Their next event is going to be Rock the Oaks, and it's going to be at Wilson Creek in mid-June. So that's it's kind of like American Idol, so it's very entertaining. Lastly, I did receive a call last night from Laura Lamont. I know a lot of you are familiar with her. She is definitely an advocate for the working citizens within Temecula that can't afford to buy houses here. So she's advocating for attainable housing, affordable housing for people that work here. And she has a really good point. A lot of people that work here can't afford to buy houses. And, how do we get around that? And she has a very prominent voice in that space. I'm going to put it on record. She definitely has concerns about the luxury rentals that are coming in. There's 230 units coming in, and she was not thrilled about that. And so I've told her, we talk about attainable housing. We talk about affordability all the time here on the dais. We've had several conversations. Several of us have spoken to her. She's not forgotten. There's hundreds of different issues that we talk about and deal with on a weekly, monthly basis, but we have not forgotten, and this is something that we will consistently continue to talk about. So we always need to look out for people that need us within our community and feel like they don't have a voice. And another thing is, for the first time, they're being given parking permits when there's an event on in Old Town, which is great, but the frustration that they had to fight for them, I believe, is some of their, obviously grievance. So maybe we should just make that, moving forward, part of the process of having an event in Old Town, they automatically get parking permits. So again, it's just the voices that we need to hear, and the people that we're going to lend our voices to is part of the reason that we're here. And then last but not least, State of the City was phenomenal. Mayor Ron did a great job. Shout out to all the staff and to the chamber for doing such a great job. It's always the best presentation of the year. It makes Temecula look amazing, because Temecula is amazing, and we appreciate it a lot. So that's it from me.
Commissioner Steve? Yeah, you can go next. Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Volunteered to support the Reality Rally this past weekend. It was a great event. The first time I've done it, and I had an awesome time just volunteering. So hopefully next year I can actually do the event to, again, raise money for Michelle's Place, who do an amazing job in Southwest Riverside County, to all the citizens and everything as they support. I had a chance to visit Rosehaven Heritage Garden. I had told the young lady who was here gave a presentation that I would come over, so I had a chance to go over there and check that out. That's a hidden gem in Temecula, so I went over and enjoyed the serenity, and again, it definitely was a healing environment. So if you haven't had a chance to, please go over and visit Rosehaven Healing Garden. With that being said, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Faulkner. Commissioner Eventhal?
Well, mine's not so positive. Yeah. So was here for a city council meeting a couple weeks back, actually representing the chamber, and saw that there was quite a bit of concern over a drag performance. Sold out 2 days, and surprised at the amount of resistance, but then also surprised at the amount of well-spoken support for the event and the performance, and the fact that probably the most eloquent was delivered by a student from Great Oak High School who had to be here by assignment. He had to be here, and he did a phenomenal job in explaining the importance and the cultural relevance of having one of those type of performances. It was marvelous and rather inspirational, but it did remind us that there's much work to be done, and it's certainly eye-opening. Saw Commissioner Faulkner at Reality Rally, worked with MSJC. I sit on the foundation board, and we went through a retreat and did the whole mission and purpose and goals, and new to it was actually rewriting and revamping the equity, diversity, and inclusion clause of all of that, and so that's now there and much stronger and better written, if I do say so myself. Nonetheless, it's been pretty busy, and looking forward to the Cultural Fest. Fantastic job on everything, including the logo and marketing it, is just getting it out there. The diversity of all the vendors and participants, the entertainment, it's going to be a home run. And lastly, spent most of my morning, I missed a chunk of the State of the Union because I had to get up to Hemet for a multicultural meeting, so led by a very inspirational speech by the leader of the Black Chamber of Commerce. So I was trying to do double duty and be in two places at the same time. So I heard that State of the City was fantastic.
It was.
But I did get to see a lot of folks there this morning. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much for your report. I was at the Rod Ron also. That was fabulous. It was just basically, it's like standing room only. It was well attended. So I enjoyed that. Had the pleasure of going to the State of the City this morning also, joining you guys. And then the Temecula Valley Chamber. I don't know, did we mention that last time? Temecula Valley Chamber, the gala? Yeah. I think Temecula, yeah. Because I think you hosted it, didn't you? No, okay. And then I went to the Legislative Summit. That was at South Coast Winery. And we had Bianco speak, and we had our district attorney speak. And it was an awesome presentation. And it just makes you feel that we're in a safe environment and that the people that are to protect us are doing their job and they're on top of what's going on. They have an eye for the crime, what's going on under the radar, and they definitely are putting their best foot forward to make sure we stay safe here in the surrounding Riverside County area. So I was very pleased by their presentation. I also had the pleasure to be a part of a webinar. It was on housing diversity, and we know housing is an issue, but they spoke about how to make the racial gap smaller than what it is, because there is a racial gap for home ownership and for people to first to even be able to afford housing, and then to have it as a way of our, what do I want to say, generational wealth, to be able to pass it on to generation into generation. So the webinar was on how do we bring or take back that gap and make so that everyone would be able to have the American dream and create wealth for their families. So that was really, really a good webinar. And then I had the opportunity to go to Sacramento for our association, a realtors meeting, and there are a lot of committees on housing diversity and DEI. They have implemented that in all of the meetings, even on the Washington level. I was in Washington also, and it's just the amount of classes. Every meeting is talking about diversifying. They want everybody on the platform to look diverse, not just one ethnicity. Everything that they do, sort of like what we're doing here with the race, equity, diversity, and inclusion events that we're having here in our city, to make sure that everybody has a voice, everyone is included, and they can look and say, I can see myself there, or I belong there. And I think that's what the bottom line to me is. So it's other organizations that's making that effort also to say, hey, we can change up some things here. Let's be more diversified. So that was a good seminar that I went to in Washington and in Sacramento. So that just makes you know that what we're doing here in Temecula, other communities should be doing, other cities should be doing, but we're not the only ones. On the state level and on the national level, they are making changes. So that was really good. So I enjoyed those conferences. And that completes my report. Anything else? Okay. So I think now on our agenda is for our executive director report.
Madam Chair, I actually believe Kanoko is here to go ahead and provide us with a presentation for in regards to the Minority Veterans Program. So why don't we go ahead and call her up, and I will reserve my comments for after that.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Kanoko.
Welcome.
And I'm sorry if I'm not saying it right.
Nico, I go by Nico, but thank you.
So Nico, we are honored to have you here this evening to do your presentation. And
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry about, I'm coming from Ontario, California, and traffic was what it was. So here we are. I don't know if, do we have the PowerPoint that I have? No? No? Okay. So I'll go ahead and, so basically I'm coming from Loma Linda, VA, and I am the Minority Veterans Program Coordinator for our facility. I'm involved in two folds, whole health as well as Minority Veterans Program. And the purpose for Minority Veterans Program is really to identify the unique needs that minority veterans have. I present a lot about this topic, and one of the key components is that we have what's called the Captain American syndrome. Okay, and that's where veterans are viewed as a typical view, white, male, heterosexual. But here we are in May of 2022, and that not every veteran looks like that. Believe it or not, I am a 100% service-connected disabled veteran. I don't look like that, but I am. And unfortunately, the typical way that we treat veterans is not able to provide services for someone that looks like me. We are growing into that realm, and we're using whole health as a realm to be able to tap into that community. And whole health is really starting with where the veteran is. And that means what they've experienced before the military, what they've experienced during the military, and what they've experienced after. And we are starting to focus on, particularly over the past 2 years, that a lot of veterans have experienced healthcare disparities, national crisis, and otherwise that are impacting their healthcare and their view on their healthcare. So we're beginning to explore that. We have things such as our Race and Resiliency Group, which is allowing for veterans to be able to speak to those unique needs. We are offering care management teams, which I am the only person doing that at this time, but to be able to support veterans that are experiencing their perceived or their actual healthcare disparities. Some of the things I want to talk about are the populations that we speak to, or that we really target. And we're going to start with our Asian Americans. Let's talk about our Asian and Pacific Islanders. Those populations historically come to a context that we have to consider. Let's start with World War II. Let's talk about the Japanese internment camps. Let's talk about the fact that these individuals, many of which were drafted to serve in our armed forces, but were forced to endure their families being torn apart. They were forced to give up their land, their territory that had been passed down to their family members, and then they were forced to serve in our nation's armed forces. And then they come to the VA. And sadly enough, when they come, they are presented with what's called system transference. System transference is when you have an experience where you may have an interaction with government entities, and when you go to receive government services, you carry those feelings forward. So if that's your grandparents, grandfather, aunts, uncles that have experienced that traumatic experience of being discriminated against, taken from your home, you carry that when you come to the VA. And we're beginning to recognize that that impacts the health care that they receive. Now let's talk about another population that we serve, African Americans. We may talk about the Tuskegee Experiment. The Tuskegee Experiment, for those that are not aware, is where 400 plus African American males were persuaded to participate in a government experiment where syphilis was injected into their body. As a result, not only them, but their offspring and forward they had healthcare issues that have resulted. And when they experience this and they come to the VA, their trust is lost. We're recognizing that now. Let's go into the next population, Hispanic Americans, Latino Americans. This population here, historically, we're here in Southern California, this was their homeland. These stories are transferred down, and as a result, there are some anger, frustration, resentment that lies. And when they come to the VA, they're carrying these feelings. Again, we're beginning to recognize how this impacts their health care and their perception of health care. Additionally, we have our Native Americans. And this is a big population that I personally am focusing on at this point in time. Not only our Native Americans, but that includes our Alaskan Natives. And this population, especially in Southern California, is very unique. And going back from the Civil War, World War I and World War II, this population was instrumental in our ability to be where we are. Unfortunately, we didn't really give them what they deserved in return. They don't come to the VA and receive the services that are due to them. And we're recognizing the impact that that's having, not only of the veteran, but their families, and how we can better serve that population. So I am personally making it a mission to tap into our Native American community for fiscal year 2022-2023. And so we're asking for, if you have any Native American or Alaskan Natives, to direct them towards Loma Linda VA to be able to assist them in any way that we can. We also have our women veterans, which is another population that we serve. I proudly stand before you as a woman veteran. And we are growing in numbers that you would never believe. We are serving, we are in combat, we are doing every single job that you could possibly imagine. But the VA, quite honestly, is not ready for us. They're not ready. And we recognize that. And we're asking for women veterans to come in and speak and talk about their experiences. No longer hiding behind the fence of, we've got it all together. No, we don't. But we need to hear the voice of our local women veterans, our local Native American veterans, our local Asian, African American veterans, our minority veteran community. I talk about the Captain American syndrome, and that, again, is talking about how we watch Captain America, we watch the Avengers, and we love them. However, not every veteran is represented in that community. We need to start being attuned and aware that there are veterans like myself and otherwise that are walking through your community who are not understood. I have a brief example that I want to give is I had a 53-year-old African-American veteran who contacted me saying that he was having some issues within the VA. And his concern was that they were referring him to acupuncture. Very simple, something most of us here have heard of. But for this man, this was a foreign language. This was completely absurd to him. Needles in me? How in the world, why in the world would I allow them to do this? But in the context of when he contacted me, I was able to contact his provider and have a conversation. Historically, being from rural Alabama, going back to Tuskegee Experiment, where we did what? We put needles in them. That was his grandfather. That was his uncle. And we were able to connect the dots of why he was so resistant to care. So we're starting to reach out to our minority veteran community and offer services. We have a race and resiliency group which meets every Monday at 2 p.m. I had to get that right, at 2 p.m., and it's all virtual. We're incorporating our whole health program to be able to dial into the unique needs of our minority veteran population. And we're looking for our local community to be able to refer. We are expanding our horizons to be able to tap into all of our veteran community. And I thank you all for your time. And any questions?
Commission, do you have any questions? Want to start? Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Steve.
What is your website?
We're dialed into the Loma Linda main webpage, internet page, and then there is a link for the intranet, and I can send that over. for
Okay,
sure.
that would be wonderful, because when I was looking at the agenda, I looked for your website, and there was so much under that I was like, okay, I don't even know where to begin.
Yes.
So, okay, good. If you could send that, that would be really, really
Absolutely.
good, because the more we know, the better. We often hear that a person's a person, a veteran's a veteran. And when you think about raising many kids in your own house and know that every single kid's different, why wouldn't somebody with a different cultural experience, with a different ethnicity experience, so on and so forth, have different needs? So I applaud you for recognizing this and taking care of our veterans. They're so important to our community. And we all have different needs, and it is wonderful that you definitely are zoning in on what the needs are of our different veterans. And definitely send the website over. I mean, any way we can help spread that word, we would absolutely love to do. Thank you for your hard work. I much appreciate it.
Thank you, absolutely. And we'll also send the flyer over so that can be sent out as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pastorian?
Thank you. First off, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge the fact that you are acknowledging the history and the pain that comes with that and the hurt and addressing things at the root. And that goes a long way for what it is, the work that you're doing. And I just want you to know you're being heard in that sense. And I know that everyone that you're coming into contact with is being heard and healed as well, because you're making that stride and that effort to really hit at the root of what's going on. And as my colleague said over here, the diverse groups that you're addressing, they're all individual. You can't treat one the same. And the history behind each one of those takes a lot of dedication. A lot of dedication on your part. So I just want to thank you for what it is that you're doing, certainly for all of our veterans, and as much help that we can give you to provide and be that outreach and get that voice out there for the help that some of our veterans need. We're absolutely there for you. So thank you.
Right, thank you.
Definitely.
No, excuse me. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Did I get it? What service were you in?
Air Force.
Air Force, that's what I'm talking about. Aim high. I was Navy.
Okay.
Of course you're behind. Of course you're behind us, but of course. Do you work for CMV or do you work for Loma Linda?
I work for Loma Linda. I'm actually by trade a social worker.
Oh, you're a social worker.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, and are you familiar with the advisory committee on minority veterans from the national level? I was just wondering if you were connected with CMV.
With CMV, yes. Let me backtrack. Yes, Minority Veterans Program falls under the CMV.
Okay.
So that's our umbrella.
That's your umbrella? Okay, great. And, I was just looking at some statistics in regards to the numbers, specifically to Temecula, and looking at the population, it seems like a majority of our service members here are from Gulf War and OIF and OND, with Vietnam being 19%. So not a lot from Korea and World War II. Specifically, when you look at CMV, are you breaking that down into war areas as well and the impact that has on minority veterans?
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're finding is Hispanic, especially in this demographic, this geographical location, Hispanic and African American and women. That's our target population for this area, whether it be due to home cost or otherwise, but we're moving out this way. So tapping in to that population for sure.
Well, good. And I was looking at, female veterans, pretty high percentage here, 12% in the city of Temecula. So I'm glad you have that focus and really engaging in that area too. So in our city, 52% veterans are white, 21% Hispanic, and then 11% Black, followed by 8% Asian. And it's good to see that even not only Loma Linda, but the Center for Minority Veterans breaks down specific, their divisions are broken down to really target those specific areas, demographics. So which is great. One of the things I see when I look at this data is our female veterans make about $10,000 less than our male veterans within the city of Temecula. So are you guys looking at that data and trying to see why that is? And looking at female veteran data across the state, it seems like our female veterans make at least thousands of dollars less than their male counterparts. Is anybody looked at that to see, you know, is it occupational wise or is it the same thing, you know, doing the same job but getting different pay? So as we attack that for our women overall, I see that gravitating into the veteran area as well, where our women veterans are making less compared to their male counterparts.
Absolutely. No, finances is not an area that I have personally been looking into. It's been more so directed towards healthcare in general, being
Okay.
able to recover and, you know, be a productive member of society. But I can speak just personally as a women veteran, or a woman,
Yes.
to be honest, that yes, financial disparities are very relevant, and I make it a long-term mission to explore whether women veteran-owned businesses is something that I really want to tap into, whether through the Inland Empire and being able to expand that use and create a network through the various areas to be able to partnership and connect. One of the staple points of being a veteran is being able to communicate with other veterans, and being able to start that dialogue and start that connection is very dear to my heart, and as well as my professional. So that's on the horizon, is being able to make that connection for employment opportunities as well as small-owned businesses.
Yeah, I'll just bring it up because a lot of times employment and finances will roll over into the health realm if they can't afford to take care of themselves and their families. So it's one of those components, not directly tied to health, but can be from a mental standpoint and from ability to be able to take care of themselves and their families. So I just wanted to see how that tied into the healthcare as well. When in talking about our women veterans, MST is a huge issue amongst our military sexual traumas. For those who don't know what the abbreviation means, MST seems to be a real factor with our women veterans, and I think it seems like the VA is getting better, and our women veterans are getting better bringing it up now. But I know it was a stigma in regards to trust, you know, in regards to coming in and being having to readdress it by some of the veterans, maybe making the jokes they used to make in the day that puts them back in the situation. Because I know the VA is starting to open up women's health clinics, CBOCs, separate from the regular clinics, to just make sure we give our women a safe space to come into. So would you talk to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So my role as the Minority Veterans Program Coordinator is 50% of my job. The other 50% I'm actually in the women's clinic. As previously my role was a BHIP therapist, is where I just provide psychotherapy for women veterans that have experienced military sexual trauma as experience. But what I noticed was a lot of women were not ready for that level of treatment. And so I expanded, and that kind of ties into what I was mentioning as far as whole health. We have a whole health program that is up and coming at Loma Linda VA, and it's really geared at starting at where the veteran is, not where we want them to be, but what's important to you. What are the concerns that you're having? And that's allowed us to really tap into the women veterans in a way that I've never seen. They're able to express the difficulties they're having. We have an entire program that's dedicated just for women veterans to have this opportunity. And we have groups that expand from 2 weeks to 14 weeks. I'm proud to say, I'll be honest, is that the men do not have this opportunity at this time. This is the first time where women have an opportunity to get VA services before men. So, women veterans at Loma Linda VA right now, as far as whole health, considering finances as part of our program, from finances to sexual health, to mental health, to moving your body, all these realms of whole health are being addressed with women veterans. So that is a huge component of what we have going on right now. This is a national mandate that each VA is required to meet right now to provide whole health for our veterans, not just focusing on your trauma, but that's focused on the impact of your trauma. And we've seen huge success as it relates to depression, PTSD, anxiety, and more. And it's been very successful for the women veterans at this time.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And one other thing would be, I know there's been challenges with OBGYN. Our veterans are becoming younger, and some of them are giving birth to kids. And y'all know a VA does not have that capability from what I knew when I was working in the healthcare side. Where are we at right now with providing that support for our women veterans?
Great question. Glad you asked that, actually. So VA Loma Linda is expanding. COVID definitely delayed a lot. We were creating an entire women veterans separate clinic that was going to be outside of the VA itself. COVID slowed it down, but we're getting ready to ramp up. And we actually, I think we have 3 providers coming in that can provide OBGYN services. I think we just have onboarded 1 this past week, and we have 2 upcoming. So that service is being expanded because the reality is, just like you said, our women veteran population is younger, and they are of childbearing age. And so those types of needs need to be addressed. And unfortunately, that is a population, Captain American syndrome has not been attended to, but we're starting to recognize that it's necessary in order to provide for all of our veterans, which is what we're charged to do.
Well, that's all I have. You did an amazing job. I know you're director, so we're going to be having to talk about you. No.
I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your service and for your passion that you have for the women that are in the military. I mean, it exudes through you. So it's not just something you're doing as a job. You honestly have a passion, and it shows. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay.
Is it harder to get the patient or client to the VA or the VA to come to the patient?
Oh, great. I like that question. Twofold. I think that it depends on who they interact when they first come in. How and who and what they're there, service there for. So that's a very ambiguous answer, but the reality is that's just the truth. I can say that most patients generally are coming in and they're interacting with someone that generally cares and they want to do their best. Unfortunately, staffing and other things impact that care, and that's just the reality. However, going into the veterans community, much like these forums and otherwise are necessary, we need to start going out and reaching out and saying, we're here for you. And despite my tardiness, that's why I'm here. Yes.
Well, we are working on the transportation issue, but that's a bigger picture.
Yes.
Totally unrelated.
and as are we. We're definitely addressing, I mean, because the Inland Empire is large. We're the largest, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the geographical location for Loma Linda VA is the largest in the country. So the areas that we touch, we go all the way out to Joshua Tree, all the way down to Pomona. So that's a lot of area to cover. But we have to start getting back out there to be able to reach our veterans, for sure.
And honestly, Loma Linda from here is not an easy way to get to it. And so if you're needing those services from down here, it's a trick to get up there. When you think of the VA, you think of this monolithic bureaucracy. If you could wave a magic wand to help try to break that down a little bit, what would it be? Would it be better communications and a simpler way for folks to access and say, okay, this is the services I need? Or I mean, where do you begin with this giant thing that is the VA?
Yes. Transparency, it would be taking care of your folks that are there. The better that you take care of the people that are there, the better services they're going to provide. COVID has showed us a lot. We've had providers, unfortunately, leave. And the more that we can tend to the needs and the concerns that they have, the better care they can provide. And with that, I will say that the VA is recognizing that. There is attention being brought to the fact that we've had a tremendous change or shift in providers going to private practice or otherwise. And they're recognizing and they're saying, okay, what do you guys need to be able to provide this care? So I would align to that and saying, yeah, listen to what your providers need to be able to provide the best care.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for all you're doing for all these diverse communities that have been historically so underserved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Faulkner?
So, I mean, the other thing is, they serve San Bernardino and Riverside, both of those huge counties. So I know where they're located at, but they have the responsibility for two counties where we look at San Diego has San Diego County. Long Beach covers Orange County and a little bit of LA County. And LA County has a huge area, but not as large as them. So what's my thought? So, oh man, you go ahead and talk. I'll remember it.
Okay, so can you make sure Randy gets the Zoom link for the Monday meeting at 2 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so with that, they would need to contact me to register. And, it's a 10-week cycle, just to kind of put that information. It's a 10-week cycle, so every 12 weeks, generally, we recycle, and then we have a new group come in.
Okay.
Right now, we're in about week 5. I'm taking a month-long vacation.
Good for you.
And then we'll be resuming the following 5 weeks. My next cohort will start in August, and in that, I'd like to just speak to that a little bit. We talk about the ability to communicate. Communication is instrumental for the minority population, whether it be, my experiences from the past, my perception of my experiences in the future, or just simply you don't understand me. And being able to communicate that to your provider is instrumental. So we go through a lot of that as well as the historical context like I covered earlier.
Okay, great, thank you. And you have a great photographer over there, too.
Yeah, he sure is photography.
This one here.
One day, I just want to make a statement that a lot of people don't know about VA healthcare. Your normal medical facility on the outside, they focus just strictly on healthcare, right?
Yes.
When you look at what the VA healthcare system has to do, where they're looking at minority veterans, where they're looking at homeless veterans, and they're trying to get them assistance, it's just not medical care. That director and those people that work there have a huge responsibility because they're doing, if they could just focus on medical care, that would be
Easy.
They would be the top medical facility across the country. But they have a responsibility to do all these other things, like work on Center for Minority Veterans and work on those subset groups. Also, they work to house homeless veterans. They work to get SSVF, with SSVF to house them. They work on transportation issues for veterans. They work on, women veterans concerns. All the other medical facilities around the world, they can care less. They want to just provide medical care. They don't. You need to go somewhere else and get that. Social worker, work with them. That's what VA gets a lot of times a bad rep, but people don't really understand the complexities of what they have to do for veterans.
Yeah.
They have to do a whole bunch above and beyond any other medical facility across this country, and they do a good job. The trust scores are improving across VA in regards to VA veterans trusting the VA a lot more than it was in the past. But just want to give you guys a totality of what they have to do. It's a huge responsibility. They have a huge veteran population, and they do a very good job with it. So that's other than some of the medical facilities out here that just focus on healthcare. They don't get in the business of housing their patients. They don't get in the business of looking at disparaging demographics and breaking it down. Not their responsibility. VA goes above and beyond to ensure that all those things are taken care of. So I just want to give you guys a true overview of the total responsibility of what the VA has to do in healthcare. Some of this stuff is really not associated with healthcare.
Yes.
But it is a subset of, if you don't take care of these things, guess what? It's going to lead to some health issues. So
Absolutely.
Any more questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much again for coming.
Thank you so much. I will send out any information regarding the Race and Resiliency Group, as well as our whole health program that we have for women veterans to be disseminated. I think that would be excellent. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
you.
Willingham. We will definitely be in touch. We'll make sure that we can get that information out. And we'll actually disseminate it not only through this commission, but we'll send it out through our Community Services Department as well, because they do some they do some military veteran-related work.
Great.
So they'll have some connections as well. And then just for your purposes, while you have a fantastic photographer back there, this meeting is recorded. So we'll send you the link so that you can go ahead and disseminate this link as you need to on your end as well.
Thank you very much. And also, additionally with that would be exceptional. If you guys have any community events or otherwise, feel free to contact me. I can come out and disseminate information as far as women veterans as well as women/minority veterans.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you very
appreciate you.
much. Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
very much. I know, we're all thinking the same thing.
We are. Everyone here is thinking the exact same booth, and I see Dawn is sitting there. So, Ms. Willingham, we actually have our Culturefest event that is happening Saturday, May 21st, and we recognize that that is only a week away. We will send you the information for that. And if you are interested in any way in participating in that, you can go ahead and let us know. But we recognize with such little time that you might have other priorities as well. But just in case, we might want to get you on that kind of a schedule for our annual Culturefest, so that you can, that would be the ideal place specifically targeted towards a variety of cultures in our community, and with such a high veteran population, I could see you reaching out to a lot of folks there. So is that acceptable to the commission? Just
Yes.
So, okay. I could feel the vibes coming this way.
I know, because we were all thinking, oh my God, this would be perfect. That would be
Right.
perfect.
I wish I would have known, but I will actually be in Aruba, so.
Then you need to enjoy your self-care in Aruba, and we will see you next year
Yes.
for Culturefest.
Thank
If she
you.
has printable materials that we could print and hand out at the REDI booth, maybe we can help serve.
Yes, so
those
whatever
needs.
information you're able to send, we'll see if we can't disseminate it just, and have it on hand at our board and commission booth. So, perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hopefully the traffic is not bad now going back home. Now on to our executive director report.
Actually, I don't have any additional comments other than see you all at Culturefest on Saturday at 10 a.m. And thank you on May 21st, and thank you for volunteering to do additional shifts and all of that. We'll have staff there as well. Community Services always does a fantastic job, and it is really, truly our honor to work with them on this
Yes.
event. While I am not an event planner by any stretch of the imagination, it has been a joy to work with Dawn and her team in realizing your vision and the City Council's vision for this first Culturefest. So just thank you.
Yeah, thank you to the city council, definitely, because it was only a dream of ours, working, putting it together, but they supported it and made it happen along with the community. Community Service Department. I wanted to know, are there going to be donuts there? I'll come early.
I will make sure there are donuts there in the board and commission booth. I can't vouch for the other 40-some-odd booths, but your booth will definitely have some donuts.
Okay, great, definitely. Any more comments, suggestions? Okay, well, I would like to officially call the meeting adjourned at 7:04.